Well, what we have here today, we're testing to figure out what an issue we've been having with this site is in the RV park. All the hardware of the tower and all the way back here, we have seen it drop out multiple times without any consistency whatsoever. We have changed the radios one at a time to see if that fixed the problem. We've replaced the AP. We replaced the backhaul point to point here, and it's still dropping out. The only thing we have not replaced, and when we logged into the radios, all from here, from the backhaul all the way over there, all the radios, it says it's dropped out and that's it, but it didn't say why. It wasn't pointing to one thing. This one dropped out, which is the backhaul. So I replaced the Edge Router X, thinking that was the issue, because that if it dropped out, it would make everything else drop out. Well, that wasn't it, because we replaced it and it's still doing it. That's the first thing we replaced, is the Edge Router X, because it was dropping out like in the park, and then this one would drop out, then the park would drop out. It wasn't consistent. But only thing that can make them all drop out, pretty much what we were thinking, is Edge Router X. Well, we replaced it and it ran for a whole week with no issues. Then it started up again. The only thing we haven't tested or replaced is this wire we have from this pole. You see it rolled up there, right there, underneath the ground, all the way back to the box. So we're replacing this wire temporarily on top of the ground and just monitor it for today and see if it resolves the issue. And if it does not resolve the issue, there's only one thing left, is the Spectrum modem or the Spectrum connection to the modem from the pole out there. Now, when I got here this morning, the owner of the home back here, he came out and he said he's been having problems with his internet because he has a account as well on a residential modem. He said it periodically just buffers. So maybe it's not the wire, maybe it is on Spectrum's side, I don't know. But we're going to replace this, we're going to monitor it and see if that is the issue or not. If it keeps dropping out today, of all days, it's Friday the 13th. So I'm not going to expect anything to go right today. But I'm not, one of them that believe bad things going to happen on Friday 13th. It's just happened that I'm out here on that day. But we're going to monitor it and see what happens. Maybe it's the wire that feeds the house from the pole. They need a new line that feeds here. I'm trying to see where the line, which line it is. I have to get my tool to open up the box. Let's see. I think I'll put that tool up. But we're going to monitor it and see if actually this wire replacement actually fixes the problem. We'll sit back and watch it and see. Well, I'll put the tester, I just put the tester on the line as you see it down there. And I'm going to go test the other end and just see if anything shows up. Mess with the ends, mess with the wire and see if it actually stops and skips any of them. I don't know, but I'm going to try it and see if it will actually show anything. If it shows something on this tester, then I know that something's wrong then. It might be simple. The end on it might be messed up. I don't know, but it was a factory made. It's not something I put together. It's a patch cord, 125 feet long, but we'll see if we get anything here. Let's see. See if we can plug it. Whoop. This direct burial cable, boys. Everyone I ever mess with is always stiff. Oop. It's missing 8. I messed with it, it's missing 8. I can twist the wire a little bit and it's missing 8. It sure is. I don't know if I can't see a thing on here. See, it's missing 8. Come on, focus. Focus, you little sucker. Missing 8. Number 8. Move the wire around. I can get it to do number 8. See, it's missing number 8. Missed it again. I have to wiggle the wire to get it to work on number 8. Yeah, it's missing number 8. Maybe it's a bad end on it, possibly. I don't know, but it's number 8, and I do believe 3478 I think is the 24 volts. I think it is. Really never had to memorize if it was or not because never had the issue with it, but it's missing number 8. But we're going to keep monitoring this connection with this wire and see if it solves the issue. And then I guess I'll just cut the end off of it over here and put a new end on it and test it again. If I can get it to do 1 through 8, then I'll plug it back in and monitor it. It might be just that plug, and it would make everything drop out, possibly if losing that one line. But that's the only thing I see so far. But we will monitor it some more and see if it drops out. Well, after some more testing, the wire under the ground seems to be fine. It's just the tester I had was just not making a good connection, so I cleaned the terminals on it. Now I cannot get the wire that's under the ground to malfunction. And the reason why I looked at it that direction is because even with this wire in place and the wire underground is not even used, it's still dropping out. So that told me it's not the wire, because if it was, that problem should have disappeared, and it didn't. But I'm going to take this AP and I'm going to put it on the other side of the fence, because this has just grown up like crazy right here. So I'm going to put it on the other side so it don't have to go through all this. But the signal says it's fine through there, but I got the extra wire and the wire is good. Why not put it on the other side? You know, it can only make it better. So I'm going to go ahead and move the pole, get it on the other side. Then I have to go on the receiving side, the other point to point, and relocate it, because where this ends up, there's a big tree right slapping away. So I'm gonna get this done today and see if possibly, even though it shows a good signal, it may be still interfering with it. But that don't make really sense, even that, because if that's the case, why would this radio drop offline? That's before the trees. This should stay online and everything on the other side should drop out. But that's not the case. But I always wanted to put it on the other side. It's just, I was trying to get everybody internet in there, and everything worked for the first, 3-4 months, no issues. So I thought the trees were not going to be an issue because it was the middle of the summer. But since I got the opportunity of trying to figure out this problem, and I can go ahead and move it, make it even better, might as well. It just don't make sense. Why does it keep dropping out? The only thing I can think of, since everything on this side has been replaced, the Edge Router X, the cable's been replaced, radio's been replaced, and it still drops out, there's only one thing left. Is the wire from the Edge Router X to the modem. And if I replace that and it's still dropping out, I'm going to even change the PoE. Last time when I changed out the Edge Router X, I changed out the PoE, so that's been changed. So the only thing left on my side is the Ethernet wire from Edge Router X to the modem. And I'm going to get one right now and replace it, just so I can say I've replaced everything on my side. Okay, we replaced the wire from the modem to the PoE, which feeds right on through. We'll see how this works. Alright, we got the point-to-point AP relocated. Still got to take the station of that point-to-point connection and relocate it, but I'm going to run some pings here off of the Edge Router X and see if it actually is dropping out or not. And if it is, then I'm going to plug it directly into the modem and do the same thing and see if it's actually dropping out, because if it's dropping out, then everything else is going to drop out down the line. So let's do some I'm going to have to get my power cord, most likely power supply for the laptop, because it says its battery's almost dead. Oh well, let's see what we can get before it dies. Well, we got it to light up and that was it. Can't get it to do anything right now, so we're gonna have to get the power supply. Oh well. All right, rerunning some pings. And as soon as we start, we had a timeout. Now we're going to watch on the app, on the phone of the radios, and see if the ping corresponds with the dropouts. And then I'm going to plug in the laptop and do the ping on the modem. If it drops out, then I'm going to check the coax connection there, and I'm going to reboot it to see if that helps, if it's doing it then. If not, then I make a phone call, tell them to come check out their equipment. All right, I put a split screen on my phone so I can actually watch it and record at the same time. We've had 2 more ping drops, but the radio, the AP point-to-point radio, has not. And as you see, there's some more dropouts right there. Maybe get more dropouts, more than 2 or 3, and the radio would drop out, but we will see. Because if it drops out, I'm definitely going to plug it directly into the modem and see what's going on there. This is the connection we have. We got this cable here coming in to a 2-way splitter, and the white wire goes to ours. Oh, and the radio just dropped out, and then the black one goes in to feed his residential. Let's just see if we got dropped pings here. Yeah, we got 2 right there. Radio's dropped out, but it's coming back. Radio's back on, and the pings just passed and the radio just dropped out. Now, is that the modem doing that, or is it the Edge Router X that's doing it? That's the question. I just want to see if I can see consistency of ping drops and the radio dropping out. I'm gonna let it run, and if it drops out again, oh, hadn't even able to even stop the recording, and got 2 more. It's not make the radio drop out every time, but it shouldn't be dropping out. Let me plug this in, the laptop, directly into the modem and see if we get the same thing. If so, then I'm going to check the connections in this where the splitter is and on the modem itself, and do some more ping test and see what happens. Okay, we just plugged it into the modem. Of course, we're going to have drops. But let's see if it comes back and stays. If it does, now I'll change the PoE again and see if that's the issue. Okay, and now it says, do I want to join that one? Yeah, because we got a new IP and all. So failed. Oh, now we're coming back. Now, of course, all this I can understand that, because that's unplugging it from the Edge Router X and plugging it directly into the, right from the modem straight to the laptop. And of course, the radio is definitely offline. But we'll see if this actually drops out or not. Well, it seems that since it's been connected to the modem, we haven't had any timeouts. There's none that I've seen yet. Yeah, because I can scroll back up and see where it's actually got back on, and there's no dropouts yet from the modem directly. Getting real good pings in the 20s. And I changed a few more wires over there, and I'm going to put it back together and see what happens. Alright, we got it plugged back in, modem to Edge Router X, and got the system back connected. Just waiting for the point-to-point AP come back on. and I got the laptop plugged into a port of the Edge Router X, and it's been going so far ever since it reconnected up here when I changed it over. And now the AP out there is actually back online. Now I'm just going to monitor it and see. I mean, the only thing I haven't changed here and tried, I mean, I replaced the wire, it still did it. I've replaced the router in the past, and it went good for 3 weeks and then started doing it again. And I thought maybe it's the wire, because I changed the wires at the same time. I changed the PoE. But as of right now, everything's back online and running. And so far I haven't had any timeouts on the pings. And the radio hadn't dropped out yet. But we will see. Well, it has been at least 5 minutes, 7 minutes. And since I put everything back together, and I did replace the 2 wires to the PoE. One comes from the modem to the PoE, then the PoE injector to the Edge Router X. I did replace them 2, and I put it all back together. And there is no dropouts. There's a few high pings, like 122 just now. And now there is, whoop, there's one right there. Right after a few high ones, and then you have one. But the radios in the park is not dropped out. I'm not looking at the one that's actually here. I'm looking at the one that it's transmitting to, because if this one drops out, the other ones in the park, they all should drop out because it's lost its signal, main feed in. So we will see if either one of them actually, the receiver or the AP point to point or point to multiple point, actually that feeds everybody in there. That's the 2 I'm looking at. I'm looking at the station on the point to point, and the point to multiple point that hands out the internet to all the CPEs. But right now we just had another one. Oh, we just had 2 more. We had that one and then just 2 more, but the radios are still on. And the subscribers, a couple of them are actually offline, so the AP is not dropping out, but clients are dropping off. Let me go get another PoE and see if we can solve that problem. See if that's the problem, is the PoE. Well, I had a few drops while I was gone. Let's see if we can maybe power the Edge Router X with its own power supply, and then take the PoE and feed the AP alone. Maybe the power coming from Edge Router X just weak and making it drop out. But it's supposed to be able to feed it that far, but maybe it's not able to. I don't know. But let's see what we can do. Alright, we got the PoE just feeding the AP, and we got a power supply feeding the Edge Router X. Let's see if this, I mean, yeah, of course it's saying fail, 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 fail until it actually gets everything back online. But all the lights on the Edge Rider X says everything is communicating. We're just waiting for it to actually show that on the pings. Alright, we got activity now going, and the AP of the point-to-point is back online. Now we're just going to sit back and see if any of the equipment actually drops out while this is running a ping. If this don't do it, I don't know what else it can be. It's driving me nuts. And the radio just dropped out. And I don't have another 12 watt PoE, so I can't change it out right now unless I actually go get one. It just dropped out. The radio AP just dropped out and came back. But the pings are not dropping out when it did that. Perhaps it's the PoE. Let it run a little bit more and see what we can come up with. Alright, now I got the ping over here, and I got all my sites here, and I got another one that just went out. This is not being a good day. Got another one that's out. This is the one that we're looking at right there. And the pings are running. It's just a waiting game now. Now that this one may be fixed, now I have to go right down the street and check on another one. Oh, what a day. Well, I just got some good news. The other site that's actually down, I just logged into my account on my backhaul and check on the account and see if they're having any issues, and looks like it's coming back online now. It says there is an outage in that area, so that's nothing to do with mine, so I don't have to go there. And it is coming back online right here. Now we're just waiting for these two to, that just came back online. Now we're just waiting for these two to come back on. But right now, I've been sitting here for 5 minutes. This site has not dropped out. And now that I said that, I just got 2 timeouts, but still no droppage. Maybe it needs its own power and it can't feed, the PoE can't feed the Edge Router X, or the Edge Router X can't feed the long line. I don't know. But since I've put it together that way, it has not dropped out. The ping has, but the site hadn't. Maybe that was it, and I'm just gonna have to get another way to get that power in there separately. I don't know. That's the only thing that seems to fix it so far, is have the PoE feeding the AP by itself, and the Edge Rider X has its own power supply. That seems to be fixing it so far. Don't know. I mean, it's got another timeout just now. Then it came back twice and another timeout. But no dropouts. Still need to go move the station over there because it's sitting behind a tree now since I moved the AP. But it's still getting good connection, but I just want to have that line of sight without a tree in the way. Even though it's dropped out 3 times, not back to back, really enough to make it drop out. So we're just going to let it run. And I got one of my sites back up. All of the one that went out outage is all back online now. But as of right now, I've been sitting here recording this for 3 minutes and 12 seconds and nothing. Got another dropout or timeout, but still no dropouts. And now my battery just dimmed the screen because it's trying to save power. But we got 2 timeouts here, but there's a timeout, then it came back 3 times, and another timeout, but then it's good. Well. I was hoping it'd be something simple like the modem's getting overheated. But it's been cool weather. I mean, it's been in the 40s. So that kind of eliminated that. And plus the box has been open for hours now. So if it was that, it would have been cooled off by now. Maybe it's just the PoE. It's a 12 watt PoE. And when I fed it to the EdgeRouter X and then took the EdgeRouter X to feed the CPE, I mean the AP, it seems to put a strain on or something. Maybe the PoE is actually weak and not be able to do it, because I've set this up like this before with a 200-foot run that the EdgeRouter X was able to feed. I had 2 timed out right there, but still nothing of the radios itself dropping out. Maybe it just needs its own power supply. The PoE might be weak. I don't know. Or it can be the EdgeRouter X. It's not be able to send out the watts to it. I don't know. If that's what it takes to fix the problem, I just have to figure out a way to get 3 115 volt outlets actually in there and be able to feed it that way. Whatever it takes, make it work and move on to the next one. All right, we got 2 timed out here, but this is what I'm really concerned about. Oop, there we go. We just had the part actually drop out. Now that might not be part of it because it don't have that perfect line of sight. It has that big freaking fat tree in the way, so that might be the issue. I haven't relocated it yet, and it dropped out not even 2 seconds and came right back. So I guess I'll figure out a way to get this, because I can't leave the power supply plugged up in there out in the weather, because it's not designed to be in the weather. But today it's not going to rain, at least that's, they're not calling for it. So I could put this back together, run it up through the hole in the bottom of the box to get inside and close it and all. Just enough to go over there to the park and relocate the receiver of the point-to-point. We had another timed out, then it came back twice, timed out again, and now it's back. Let's look into, okay, and Looks like this actually dropped out. Yeah. Looks like the router is indicating that it dropped out, but the lights are still going. But it came right back. This is driving me nuts, I tell you. As soon as I think I got it figured out what's going on, I'll be daggone if it don't want to do something different. And that was showing the edge router dropped out, but the lights on it still flashing just as hard as it can go. All right, I took the PoE out of the equation. Got a tough switch, and I'm just basically using it as the power supply to feed the Edge Router X, and then the Edge Router X feed the AP. Just eliminate another device to see if that is the issue. Because this is the touch switch I had actually in the RV park that was feeding all the radios, and I thought it was the issue because it was used and had the issues, and I was like, maybe that's what it is since I put that in there. But that was not the case, because I switched it out and put a nano switch in there and feeding everything, and it still has the issue. And now I got to this point back at the source of the issue, seems like, and I'm just going to use that tough switch as a power supply. And all the lights on the Edge Router X is lit up. The ETH0, which is the red wire going in, and then ETH2 is feeding laptop. ETH4 is the PoE through feeding the AP. Now I'm waiting for, this is the location where I'm at. This is the radio, the AP that sends it out to the site. I'm just waiting for it to light up. It turned blue, and I'm just waiting for the line connection to say it's good too. Now the site over there is actually showing it's connecting. Okay, now this one turned blue. Now I'm just waiting out. This is the wire. This is the wire that's underneath the ground. This is the wireless one, sending point to point. The pings are back. It's just a waiting game. I mean, I test and replaced everything and see what I can figure out. The only thing I don't even think I got any more Edge Router X routers, but I do have a router that I can program on the same IP range, put it in the place, and see if it actually will work. Because I can feed, if that does not change when I change from the PoE to the tough switch, changing the power supply, if that don't fix the problem, still pings are still going and no dropouts, that would tell me pretty much it's not the power supply. Then I'll take the router here and program it with the same IP range. I think it's 10.10.8.1 maybe, and let it hand out IPs, and let the, probably put the PoE back and let it feed the AP. Eliminate everything. I mean, it's just driving me nuts. It might be the Edge Router X dropping IPs, because I've seen clients actually off the AP in the park drop off, but everything else still online. So if the IPs are getting dropped for whatever reason from the Edge Router X, then that can cause all the problems that I've been having. But like I said, I've changed the Edge Router X when I started having this problem, and it went away for like a week and then started coming back. So it might still be just another bad Edge Router X. I don't know. But if changing the router to that one and it solves the problem, then I just have to figure out a way to put that in there with everything else until I order one. I think I got one at my studio that I can do away with and just put a non-managed switch in it. We'll see. Still getting a couple timeouts, and the RV park actually dropped out, but again, that might be because it don't have a good line of sight. But it did happen about the same time as the timeout. I guess I'll plug in the router I have over here and program it with the same IP range and use it, rewire it, and try it and see what happens. If it don't, I'm really gonna have to think on this, figure out what it is. I mean, I've changed the power supply, changed the wires, changed the radios. Just because I changed the Edge Router X like a month and a half ago, I don't mean that this one's doing the same thing. Got a couple more. We got it timed out, then it came back and timed out again, and then it's fine. I don't know. Well, I'm going to program that router. I'm going to throw it in there and see if that solves the issue. I think that's what I did last time, and it solved it, and that's why I changed out the Edge Router X. So I'm going to do it again and see if it solves the problem. If it is, and I guess I'm going to just have to figure out a way to feed the Edge Router X just by itself and don't let it feed anything. Just feed itself, and then get a PoE that I have over here and just feed the radio of the AP. It might be what has to be done. It might be that for some reason the Edge Router X just can't feed that long distance, but like I said, I got one that long already. Actually, it's feeding 2 different radios. 2 small ones, but it was feeding them a long distance. We got a couple more timeouts back to back, but no dropouts here. You know, let me get the program in this router and plug it in there and rewire it and see if that solves the issue. If it does, I just have to get another Edge Router X. Well, since the AP and the station of the point-to-point is actually having a great connection of -35 on both directions, I'm not going to move the station right now. Not until because it's in a great location. I just want to go another 10 feet up of the AP that actually feeds the RV park, but I don't think I need to move the receiver. Looks like, from all the testing that you saw here, looks like it's pointing to the Edge Router X for whatever reason. because everything's been replaced. The PoE's been replaced. The wire's been replaced. The only thing I couldn't replace, even temporary, was the Edge Router X. The router that I had, I pushed the reset button and it gave out IPs, but when I typed in the IP for the router, it just, like it don't exist. Even though it was there, but it just would not let me get into the router so I can configure it. Just my luck for the day. But I put it all back together and going to let it run, get another Edge Router X. I might have one in a box. I think I got a new one somewhere. I'm going to look in the RV and see if it's sitting there or sitting in the studio, or if I got one at all, and come back, maybe not today, perhaps tomorrow, and change that out after I program it and see if that makes a difference. I've done everything I can do, replacing everything, and the only thing it's pointing to now, since I changed the wires that's coming in the Edge Router X and all the wires that's coming out of the Edge Router X, changed the power supply to it, and still dropping, even though it didn't drop any pings when I plugged directly into the modem. So that told me I'm getting good connection there. So it has to be the Edge Router X. It's not the wire in the ground, because I replaced it and laid one on top, as you saw, and it's still done the exact same thing. It's got to be the Edge Router X. So we're going to get one, or get a router just to put in there, just to play elimination. Any router will work as long as it's on the same IP range. Of course, it's not going to show up in the UISP and all stuff, but it will do what it needs to do. It will hand out IPs and control traffic, out to each one like it's supposed to. Each CPE is traffic shaped, programmed already, so it's not like somebody's going to get more speed they're supposed to have. So I'm going to ride down the road and look at a new site. Somebody called and they were given my number, and they said this is a real small place in there. They want internet, and I'm thinking what they told me, most likely not be able to do it, but I'm going to go down there and just look it over and, at least show up and look and see if it can be done, let them know yes or no. But right now, there's nothing else I can do here. I'm going to get me some coffee and get me some lunch, because it's past 12. It's 1 o'clock, I think. Let's see. I think it's actually 1 o'clock. They're past. At least that. Plus I got to go get gas. Yeah, it's 1:15. Go get me something to drink. Go get me something to eat. Go look at that site and see if I can get an Edge Router X and see what we can do. Sometimes, you could troubleshoot like crazy, and it takes a lot of testing to figure out what it is. But everything now is pointing to the Edge Router X. I'm glad it's not the wire in the ground. I sure didn't want to have to replace that. Well, I do believe I mentioned what time it was earlier. It was like just a little after 1. Now it's 9 after 2. I came to Denny's, sat down and have a nice meal. And I had the phone open looking at the site that I was working on to see if it drops out, whatever. It never did. Crazy. I'm just going to go look at another site and then I'm going to go back to the studio and call it a day and edit this video. Crazy. Take it all apart, test everything, couldn't figure out exactly what it was, except
it pointing to the router, put it all back together, and it's working. I did change 2 wires. The wires that goes into the PoE from the modem to the PoE, and from the PoE to the Edge Router X. But I did that while I was there, and still it was dropping out. But now that I put it all back together and closed the box, it's working. Go figure. Well, I'm going to check another site, and I'm going home and make a pot of coffee, sit back and kick off my shoes and socks and enjoy the rest of the day.